Oh, I can't let him take my soul.
You're watching Pyro Media Network.
I can't let him take my soul. Nah, no. Oh, I can't let him take my soul. Nah, no. See, we was cool right before it hit the fence. But it hit the fan when I got him down at the bench. But I took a break, I had to leave and go get cleansed. God forgive me for all my sins. I can't say these cause my last name ain't Kent. Cooking on the stove, that's the way he paid the rent. Working on the pole, that's the way she paid tuition. Better watch your soul, cause you know they trying to get it. Yeah. I learned my right from wrong on a song. I let my heart bleed on my sleeve through microphones. I'm trying to right my wrongs by writing out my wrongs. Ran through a check, cause it's hard to live off bread alone. So if you see me slipping, yeah, let me know. Cause it ain't the end of times yet. I know, but it's getting close. Yeah, I need my space to breathe. That's why
Hello,
I be going ghost. I ain't trying to stay up on that wide road. Cause I can't let them take my soul.
If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience with us is fruitful. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. And we do hope you consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
And you better talk to me nicely. Next to blow, little bitch, I might be. Oh, can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get advice, we know. Talk to me nicely. I noticed they hit it, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get advice, we know. We on top, flipping the bird, they going sick. But I'ma make them eat every.
Hey, everybody. It is I Hope Giselle. And I am back with another episode of I Had Thoughts. And we are live. Ain't y'all happy that I'm live today? Okay. I know y'all be liking it when I be live or whatever. But first and foremost, I want to let y'all know that we got some things to discuss, okay? If this tea set looks familiar, it's because if you follow Miss I'ma Keep It Black, but I'ma Keep It Brief, it's because I went ahead and purchased it because I support Black women and Black businesses, okay? And speaking of supporting Black women and supporting Black businesses, let me tell y'all something. Coach Dawn, okay? Coach Dawn Stolly out in South Carolina has not only made history, but she has decided that she's just going to, she's decided that she's going to change the way that we think about sports and women in sports and all of that jazz, right? And so just in case y'all did not know, in case you were under a rock this entire weekend, Coach Dawn Stolly is the coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. That name in and of itself is quite interesting. Obviously for several different reasons. The fact that this is a women's basketball team and they got the nerve to call those girls the Gamecocks is that felt like a patriarchal and a very misogynistic thing to do on the back end. It's like, we're gonna give y'all a team, but this is what we're gonna call y'all. You know what I'm saying? Something about that feels amiss for me. I'm not gonna call it, but something about that feels amiss for me. But like I said, if you were out of the loop or if you just don't know like what was going on, Coach Dawn made it to like the top of the toppers, and in a space where they were supposed to be asking her about her gaming strategy, just different ways that she was combating, sexism on the court, or different ways that she was, combating the media talking about her strategy and her skills as a coach and all of these other different things. These people decided to throw a monkey wrench that they didn't throw to any other coach, by the way, except Dawn. And they had the nerve to ask this woman, what does she feel about transgender folks, specifically trans women, because it's always about trans women. And let me go off on this tangent real fast for y'all. Do y'all ever notice how when they want to have the conversation around trans people in sports, it is very rarely ever named, how do you feel about trans people in sports? How do you feel about trans folks playing? Or how do you feel about trans folks boxing or running or racing or, hooping or whatever the case may be? It is always about trans women. And they always specifically name that. And even in the clip, for those of you all who have seen it, they named that specifically. And I know that some of y'all are going to die on the hill and say, well, this was about female basketball. So of course they're going to name it. But even when we're having general conversation around this, y'all, we all know that it is very rare that they make a full rounded or a whole conversation, or that they piece together an entire conversation specifically about the trans community at large. And it is mostly and always about the idea of transgender women playing sports. Now, I had to hold my breath and clutch my pearls as I waited for this response, because the nuance of this is that as a Black trans woman who has grown up in Black community, who understands how most Black women, respond around this, and there are rumors stating that, Dawn Staley herself is a lesbian, but as a trans woman who has been drugged by lesbians for protecting women, I know that all lesbians ain't for the LGBTQIA plus community neither, and they don't operate in the idea that all women are women either. So I waited in bated breath as they asked this question, because I was like, okay, this is gonna go one or two ways, and I really hope that this goes a way that either feels neutral or that just feels good. And thankfully, what I loved about Coach Staley is that she didn't ride the fence. What I loved about Coach Staley was that she wasn't neutral, but she was very progressive in her response, which basically said, and I quote, if you are a woman, or if you believe yourself to be a woman, I think you should play. And that's just what it is. And that is coming from a cisgender woman who was in the sport, who played the sport, who understands the sport, who is also coaching other young girls in the sport to understand how the sport works. And so my thing is, I feel like what a lot of people miss on this particular thing is that it's not about your gender when we're talking about who can hoop and who can run and who can do X, Y, and Z. Everybody wants to talk about the advantages and the disadvantages when you think you have a higher chance at losing. But if you felt like you could win, sex and gender would not even matter to this conversation. And I think that these are things that people who are actual athletes and people who are really in this and people who have actually done the work and people who have been around long enough know this. If I'm an athlete and I'm trained and I'm at the top of my game, it don't matter who the fuck steps on that court. I am going to do what the fuck needs to be done, not because this person is taller, stronger, more muscle mass than me, but because I am a queen or a king of my craft. So regardless of whether or not you're a 5'5" trans man and I'm a 6'9" cis hetero man, or whatever the case may be, or if you're a 6 foot trans woman and I'm a 5'8", cisgender girl. If I step on the court, I'm allowing my skill to speak for me and not anything else other than that. And I think that this coach understands that. Now, what also got me and what got on my nerves and what I can see kind of sort of got on the coach's nerves is that they never ask direct questions, right? They never just jump to what they really want to know. They always play this pussyfooting game about like, okay, so like, how do you da-da-da-da-da-da? And I love the fact that she was just like, don't waste my time. If you're going to go there, if you're going to do this, if you're going to ask the thing that needs to be asked, then just ask me the question, right? How do you feel? How do I feel about transgender women playing on, women's teams as it pertains to that? And I agree with the fact that they should play. Then I love that she stood on business. I understand that this was a tactic that y'all are using to throw people off of the scent and to make my entire, social media go up and left and right and run and to get these people to write these, egregious articles about me right before this game. But what I think that Dawn knew in that moment was when she gave her response, she already knew, bitch, I don't need to be on social media. I ain't got to be on social media. Social media is not an escape for me. And also, right now, I know to be up off of here. So the idea that y'all were trying to use social media as a tactic to throw this lady off of her coaching game, because I believe that that's what it was. It wasn't just about the idea of hearing what she had to say about a controversial topic, because if that was the case, y'all would have asked everybody. Y'all didn't. And I do think that some of it is because there's a rumor of her being queer coded. Now, let me be very clear. Allegedly, she is queer, right? But we don't know that because that ain't come out of that lady mouth yet. But I think that there was also, a reason for why they asked her this question. I think that was also a reason for why, they posed it specifically to her and maybe not to other people or to other coaches in the series. And those things are things that are very important to note, is that not only did y'all do this trying to throw this lady off, but y'all did this with the intention to get her to fall or to succumb to the idea of social media pressures and media pressures and all of these different things right before one of the biggest fucking games of the season. It just doesn't make any sense. But I'm happy that she stood 10 toes down. I'm happy that she was adamant about the fact that she wasn't going to back down, even though she knew what the consequences was going to be. And I'm happy that in some small way, shape, or form, she stood up for the trans community and understood that playing sports is not about sex or gender, but it's about people. It's about the camaraderie. It's about the level of sportsmanship in the game. And there was something that was really, really dope about being able to see that. Now, as we talk about sportsmanship in the game, and as we talk about camaraderie and talk about all of the things, I have to talk about another sport. And people forget that this is a sport, but it's a sport. And that sport is called rap, okay? Now, over the weekend, Mr. J. Cole had for to apologize for some things that he had for to say, okay? I'm gonna let y'all take a look at the apology.
So I'm so proud of that project, except for one part. It's one part of that shit that make me feel like, man, that's the lamest shit I ever did in my fucking life, right? And I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear. I know I can hear my niggas up there right now like, nah, don't do that. But I got to keep it 100 with y'all, right? I damn near had a relapse, right? Because y'all heard some shit that happened 3 weeks ago, however long it was. Y'all heard that bazooka that was dropped on the motherfucking game, right? So all of this time of me moving on my own accord, for the first time I was tested. Why am I tested? Because I got the world and I got my niggas like, what you gonna do, Cole? My niggas like, boy, I must have had 1,000 missed calls. Oh my fucking God. Text flooded. I couldn't even answer my shit. Nigga, it's wartime. Right? Niggas want to see blood. And I was conflicted because, one, I know my heart, you know what I mean? And like, I know how I feel about my peers, these two niggas that I just been blessed to even stand beside in this game, let alone chase their greatness, right? So I felt conflicted because I'm like, bro, I know I don't really feel no way, but the world want to see blood. I don't know if y'all can feel that, but the world want to see blood. So I say all of that to say, in my spirit of trying to like get this music out, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I moved in a way that I feel spiritually feel bad on me. Like I try to like jab my nigga back and I try to keep it friendly. But at the end of the day, when I listen to it and when it comes out and I see the talk, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. That shit make me feel, that shit disrupts my fucking. It's wartime, right? Niggas want to see blood.
And let me tell y'all something. Listening to that, there are two things that I want to call to the table. I hear an elevated Black man acknowledging that he succumbed to the pressures of the world, right? Even though that is not who he believes himself to be, because he understands that posturing is important for a lot of people on the outside. It was important for him to give the folks what they wanted. And I hear somebody that says that in giving the folks what they wanted, I lost a little bit of myself. And I want to acknowledge that publicly, that while I'm not saying it'll never happen again, I'm going to say that the same place that I did it is the same place where I'm going to clean it up. And there's a double-edged sword with this, because I'm all about growth and I'm all about evolution and I'm all about, like all of the things. But when you are playing a sport, much like Miss Angel Reese, right? Much like, Miss Serena Williams, much like, Mr. LeBron James, Mr. Dwayne Wade, like when you are in a sport, and I don't care what nobody says, boxing is a sport. That is a mental fucking sport. To be able to come up with those lyrics, to be able to recite, there's a cadence, there's mentalities that you have to have to be able to deliver some shit lyrically that make people go, okay? And so when you are playing the sport of rap, and you put yourself in a position where you are constantly saying, I'm the king, I'm number one, I'm X, Y, and Z, I'm this, that, and the third. Like you have a whole album talking about this. You got to stand on that sometimes, right? And sometimes standing on that isn't pretty. Sometimes standing on that means that you gotta box slap your brother a little bit, right? Sometimes standing on that means you do have to put people back in their place. And I think that what this feels like was, had that response landed the way that Kendrick's initial slap landed, there would be no, oh, I'm going to experience this growth publicly for y'all. I think that since the response did not slap, right, the way that Kendrick's initial threat or the way that Kendrick's initial shot slapped, there's this need to have press, right, that is going to elevate you in a positive way. And the way that you do that and the way that you get around and the way that you get over is that you get the press to believe that you're just this elevated individual who is so above it all. Because now people can move and shift past the bullshit. And if Kendrick responds again, he looks like Mr. Toxic. He looks like Mr. Trying Too Hard. He looks like Mr. Oh, can't let something go, don't want to be mature, toxic black masculinity. And I think that leaning on that is some fuck nigga shit, Jay. I really do. I think that leaning on that is some fuck nigga shit. It is okay that you lost because you were not expecting it in the first place. But what I don't think that it's okay to do is to, no matter how valid in this particular moment, to try to weaponize what you know is this trend of people wanting to see men be more elevated in their thought process and their mind process, to take this moment away from the fact that Kendrick made a statement in this sport, as many people often do, as you have done. And then because you know that you lost, instead of accepting the L and saying, Kendrick got me on this one, but I choose not to engage in the rest of it because at the end of the day, I don't want to be that person, but giving him his props and acknowledging that you got, right? And acknowledging that you lost this round. You're trying to make it seem as if on some low-key dog whistle shit that he's Mr. Problematic, that he's Mr. Started with you, that you got poked and now you're above it all and X, Y, and Z. Because if you felt all of these things, if you did all of that, like it's not to say that what he's saying ain't true. But it is to say that if you were so elevated in the first place, I understand peer pressure, but it ain't like you responded the next day. It's not like you responded the day after. So you had time to think about your response. You had time to come out and be elevated. And you could have simply said, I got in the booth and I recorded some shit. And then I realized that to put that out would be against my fucking character. I would have respected that as a response to the initial shot versus you shooting back realizing that you missed your target by 5 rounds, and now all of a sudden you want to make it seem like Kendrick is the bad guy, because that is the narrative that some people are going to spin. Now, some people are definitely going to spin the fact that you lost and this is what you're doing, but other people are going to now look at Kendrick as if he's just some toxic person, and I don't think that that's fair. I don't think that you're playing fair, but also at the same time, the action of being a celebrity, Hollywood is a sport, and your PR team worked that out. Now, I want y'all to think about that, and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments while we go on this break, and I'll see y'all back in a second.
Talk to me nicely. Next to blow, little bitch, I might be. Can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now that we up,
Are you ready for enlightening conversations that transcend boundaries? Get ready for Conversations with Clergy, brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. In partnership with the world's largest publicly funded international collaboration, the HVTN is dedicated to evaluating vaccines to prevent HIV and COVID-19. But their impact doesn't stop there. The HVTN is at the forefront of advancing vaccinology, social and behavioral sciences, statistics, immunology, and even contributing to the research on tuberculosis and COVID-19 vaccines. By supporting Conversations with Clergy, the HVTN not only brings you thought-provoking discussions, but also contributes to the global effort to combat infectious diseases. Tune in, stay informed, and be a part of the change. Conversations with Clergy, supported by the HVTN, empowering conversations, empowering lives. Join us in this journey of knowledge, understanding, and progress. Conversations with Clergy, proudly brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, because together we can make a difference.
Know that you can now catch the electrifying sounds of Bulletin Flight Radio anywhere you go? Yes, you heard it right. Tune in to the high-flying beats and soaring melodies by downloading the TuneIn app on your mobile device. Just search for Bulletin Flight Radio and hit play. It's that easy. And if you have a smart device like Alexa or Google, just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn." Experience the rush of adrenaline wherever you are. Listen to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn using your Alexa or Google devices. Soaring through the skies has never sounded this good. Don't miss out on the ultimate musical journey. Tune in now to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn and let the music take you on an unforgettable ride. Get ready to elevate your listening experience. Brought to you by Bulletin Flight Radio.
I noticed they hit it, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get it.
All right, y'all, we are back with another episode of I Have Thoughts. And in case you missed the first half, we talked a little bit about Coach Dawn Staley and her support of trans people playing sports, specifically trans women being able to play in basketball. And then we also went through a little bit of J. Cole's apology / what I believe to be a cop-out for the fact that his hit was not as hard as Kendrick Lamar's hit. Now, y'all let me know what y'all think, but I think that it's a little bit of both. I think that there is elevation that happens with that, but I also feel like the PR team was trying to, paint Kendrick out to be the disaster of the person rather than, just accepting the defeat there. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Now, don't shoot me, because I know some of y'all know that this is my friend, and this is still my friend, but I know that some of y'all know that there is nuance to every situation. So don't shoot me, because this is still my friend, and I will beat y'all up about my friend, okay? But before I say anything, roll the clip.
Todrick Hall is asking fans for money because he says his family's house has burned down. In the GoFundMe, he says, typically I would be the person to step up to the plate to help, but as a performer who's just recovering from the pandemic and the union strike myself, there's only so much I can do. Now, this was just 3 days ago. He set a goal to raise $10,000, which he has already hit. But last night in Los Angeles, he threw a birthday party. There was a petting zoo, horses to take photos on, a mechanical bull, at least 3 drag performers, a tattoo artist, multiple photo stations. This is the one that you stand on and it spins around you to make a video. Another photo booth. Cakes like this in Los Angeles don't cost less than $500. And that's not even including any of the booze. There were a lot of people there. But what made me cringe the most was this video one of his girlfriends posted.
Todrick, you guys, what is his life?
If you don't know, I used to be a celebrity assistant for like an actual celebrity, like an A-list celebrity. There's no way. If I'm being very conservative with my math, there's no way that party cost less than $15,000. I bet it was at least $20,000. I just cannot imagine coming on the internet telling people that my family's house burnt down, asking them for money, saying that I couldn't afford it, and then throwing a $15,000 to $20,000 party.
Somebody says that while wearing 10K of Cartier bracelets. I'm just letting you guys know that just because somebody has Cartier bracelets or something does not mean that they don't have a struggle. I know that sounds crazy, but people...
And actually, he's not wearing $10,000 worth of Cartier. He's wearing $24,000 worth of Cartier. I know we're all empaths, but there's like legit con men out here, and you guys need to be careful where you're spending your money.
So there's a couple of things that I want to address because I personally know certain things. And then there's a couple of things that I want to address because I can't stand white queening on Black queens, regardless of how problematic certain people might feel that Black queen to be. Because I feel like a lot of white queens doing this is coded in racism. And I don't give a fuck what nobody says, y'all. There is something that is very like sinister and racist undertone about everything that this man is saying. And this person might be a person that got 50 million Black friends, and I don't give a fuck. There's something about the white gaze of WeHo that give me racist, but definitely fetishize Black men on the weekends when ain't nobody looking. I'm sorry, that is my opinion. A lot of those queens in LA give that kind of energy, and he is no different. I don't feel like I get anything different from that little man that made that video. And that is my bias, and I want to give that to y'all before I get into my my breakdown, because I don't want there to be any confusion about the fact that I indeed do have a bias about the person that gave their opinion. On top of the fact that I am standing on the fact that I am friends with Todrick Hall. I love Todrick Hall dearly. I wish I would have told production to pull up some pictures of me and Todrick Hall because I am not ashamed of that friendship. I think that Todrick is an amazing person. While he does have his flaws, everybody has their flaws, and none of them are, to my knowledge or in my opinion, worthy of throwing Todrick away for. I think that there's just certain shit that I don't click with him about. But I got a couple of friends that there are certain shit that I don't click with them about, and that is okay. Now, first and foremost, let me get into this $24,000 worth of Cartier bracelets on his wrist. Because you're absolutely right. They are $24,000. And I know this because I've heard him say this. However, as a person who also has luxury fucking items that were bought 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago that I keep up with, what the fuck that got to do with anything that he's doing today? Okay. And I think that there's a difference between also understanding when something is temporary versus when something is going to be a long-standing situation that you need to take care of. I'm not selling my $24,000 Cartier bracelets that took me forever to even be able to earn and to buy and put on my fucking wrist over something that I know if I do one TV show or by the time I'm done with this thing, I will be able to fund, right? And that there's me and Todrick on the set of my show. Can We Talk podcast. And that is me and Todrick inside Todrick's personal bedroom. That same bedroom that he took that picture of. I want y'all to also know, and I'm glad that production found this particular picture. That is Todrick's bedroom. Okay? This bedroom has been decorated since Todrick moved into this home. And also, the closet that young lady was inside of is not a part of the decorative decoration of Todrick's party. That closet belongs to the home that Todrick lives in. That was not something that was purchased for the party for her to walk around in. That is a feature that comes with the home. That's just like if somebody had shown the elevator that is also in that home. That is not something that Todrick purchased for the party. That is a feature of the home that he owns. Okay, so I think that y'all need to really stop like, oh, and the part that really disgusted me. The part that really disgusted you was a part of the party that was not even purchased because it comes with the house. Is that the part that disgusted you the most? That somebody showcased the closet that comes with the home. Okay, cool, whatever. As it pertains to, again, like I said, people owning things beforehand, y'all fail to realize, and just like this little white queen tried to downplay it, it's not, oh, I've worked with celebrities, like real celebrities, like A-list celebrities. Todrick is a fucking celebrity. Regardless of how you feel about how he got there and why he's a celebrity, he is a celebrity. And I would argue in the gay community, he is indeed an A-list gay celebrity. If you are queer, whether you like him or not, you know the name Todrick fucking Hall. So don't act as if he's just some nothing ass, nobody, one hit wonder motherfucker that don't nobody know about. And I am quite sure that you and all of your little white twink friends in high school were probably singing along to his tunes and doing all of this extra shit when he was pussy popping for the white boys and making all of this content that was specific to y'all and catering to you all's audience and being able to laugh at black folk. You probably loved him then, but then all of a sudden, you got one black friend that enlightened you over 2 weeks worth of commentary, and now you think you Sister Soldier, and you finna use your light racism and turn it into something that feels like activism for the sake of being able to call this person out. I don't trust it. I don't trust the messenger. I'm definitely shooting the messenger because there's something about it that feels pointed. There's something about it that feels racist, like I've been saying, and there's something about it that feels personal. And my thing is, I wouldn't put it past you to be one of these little stylist people. As you said, you've worked for people in Hollywood, and Todrick travels in Hollywood. So I wouldn't put it past you to be one of these little queens that have tried to fuck him and not been his type. And now you had a raging vendetta. And now all of a sudden, this is your moment to have a moment on him and you're trying to take it. And if that's what it is, my girl, just say that. But at the end of the day, don't make this video as if you genuinely care about people being scammed, because there are so many white queens that you could attack right now who are scamming people. And I don't see you going viral for that. But that's neither here nor there. Because I would love to see if you have videos about Jeffree Star. Because you know what was really problematic to me as Todrick's friend is the fact that Jeffree Star was invited to that party. That's the video that I would have been making. That is the video that I would have called you out on, because as a black queer man, how the fuck is Jeffree Star at your motherfucking party where he's been known to be racist? I don't give a fuck how many apologies you make. The shit that you have done has been inexcusable. The colorism, the racism, the blatant fucking videos, and I don't give a fuck how many people have said fucked up shit to you. That's not the first word that comes out of my goddamn mouth when I see somebody who has fucked with me on the street. I am so sorry. I'm not going to forgive Jeffree for a very long time, if at all, about that racist bullshit, because it wasn't one incident. It wasn't two incidences. It's the idea that on top of you fake ass apologizing, in my opinion, you then turned around and tried to utilize your relationships with other black models and black creators to tokenize them in your ads as a way to show your appreciation and how much you have grown. And that to me would have been a hotter scoop than you trying to come at Todrick for the idea of a party that we don't know how the fuck it was pulled together or how it happened or what happened. We don't know if this party had been planned for months, because if you anything like me, my birthday trip for August is already paid for. And guess what? Most of it is non-refundable, which means I'm either going to go or I'm going to forfeit my coin, and that's just going to be what it is. So because we don't know how this party came to be, we could assume that maybe because Todrick throws a big party for his birthday every single year, that maybe he's been planning this shit since fucking December and can't get his money back because he didn't know that his parents' house was gonna fucking burn down. He didn't know that shit was gonna happen. So we don't I think that there's just so many things that to consider and so much grace that people don't give because they're looking for a fucking scoop in some way to go viral and some way to get the people going and be provocative, that it doesn't make any sense. But outside of that, let's talk about this. When you know people in Hollywood, because you are a person in Hollywood, why was the first thing that we said, oh, you paid for all of this, but you can't do X, Y, and Z, instead of assuming that his Hollywood friends might have done a fucking favor? Because when you are down and you don't have money, let's bring this down to something that people who are not rich and famous and have friends with millions of dollars might be able to understand. Have you never been down on your luck, not had your coin, and your friends wanted to go out with you, and you didn't have the coin, and your bestie said, bitch, I didn't say, do you have the money? I asked you if you wanted to go. We've all had that. If you have real friends, I don't know about some of y'all, but if you have real friends, we've all had a bestie ask us when they know we didn't have any money, when they know we didn't have the funds. Bitch, I didn't say, do you have the money? I asked you if you wanted to go, right? And so why didn't we assume that my thing is because this man's in a different tax bracket, that his friends was like, I didn't ask you if you could afford a party. I asked you if you wanted to have a party. There's a difference. Why didn't we assume that? So just because it's on a grander scale than your friends could provide for you, just because it's on a grander scale than you understand things to be, there's no grace for the idea that this person is in a whole different tax bracket than you. And so therefore, it's very likely that their friends are in a whole different tax bracket than you. And those favors look different than the favors that your friends can pull for you. A lot of y'all need to understand that when you move differently and you're in different circles, favors look different from different people. The same way that we look at the idea that Will Smith loaned what that boy name is, Dwayne Martin or whatever his name is, $1 million and something dollars. Yeah, that's nothing when you got $18 million in the bank. To them, that's loaning somebody $100. But when you are not in that tax bracket, you do not think that that is a loan that you can stand to miss. So of course, if you're not in that tax bracket, you are wondering how somebody could give a $500 cake. To a lot of those people in LA who party like that all the time, a $500 cake is nothing. A $200 bull rental is nothing. A $200 fucking spinny photo thing is nothing to those people. They spend that shit on lunch eating sushi. Are y'all kidding me? Are you all kidding me? And I think that while some of y'all hate Todrick so much, and some of it is very warranted, I am not absolving him of this stuff, and I don't absolve him in his face. This is my friend, and we still have debates about certain things. But what I am not going to allow y'all to do is sit back and vilify this man every single time he does reach out and tries to humanize himself and says that I need fucking help. If you don't want to donate to the GoFundMe, don't donate to the fucking GoFundMe. But don't berate and belittle and try to victimize the people who did because they fuck with him. Just be upset at the fact that you couldn't get $10,000 in 3 days from your friends or from your fan base that you likely don't have because all you do is style A-list celebrities. Just be upset and say that you're a hater and put it in the group chat like everybody else and go the fuck on about your day. People can own things of high value and still be broke. People can move in certain ways that are already set up for them to move and still be broke. People can operate with certain groups of friends and do certain things and post it on social media and still be dead broke. One of his friends is K-Way, the guy who does the TT impersonations, right? And I remember way back when, before TT really took off, but TT did have 1 million followers, K-Way told us, I had 1 million followers, I had all of this viewership, I was doing all of this stuff, and I was broke. And a lot of y'all don't understand that some people on social media know how to make it look good. We will never look like what we're going through in the moment. And especially when you know that people are going to drag you for that shit, you do your best to not look like what you are going through. You do your best to make sure that you are not giving people a reason to have fuel to the fire that they're already hoping that you are experiencing. People want you to lose. And so you do your best to make sure it doesn't look like you're losing ever, because you don't want to have to deal with that shit. It's already bad enough that y'all are praying for my fucking downfall, and now I'm actually giving y'all the downfall in real time. I don't want to do that. And while it might seem vain to some of y'all, the people that get it, get it. I don't want y'all to have proof that I'm having an actual downfall moment. And so I'm going to continue to live like I got it and look like I got it, even though I'm eating oodles and noodles behind closed doors, because that is better than y'all motherfuckers being able to say, remember that one time when he fell off? Because even before I fell off, y'all were waiting on me to fall off. So what the fuck do I look like, giving y'all the opportunity to be able to have one moment to screenshot in life to say, well, oh, there you go. Because even though it did not happen to Todrick personally, y'all are going to be riding the fact that his family's house burned down for the next 17 motherfucking years. And in the event that y'all had found out that his family's house burned down and he didn't make it public knowledge, y'all would have been on the fucking internet talking about, oh, his family's house burned down. He didn't even say nothing about it. And I bet he didn't give them any money. But the fact that he let y'all in on his personal fucking business and then decided that he was going to ask for help as a person who people know to make a certain amount of money, and y'all turn around and use it against him anyway, y'all are fucking lame. And I really wish that the hate for this man would stop. Okay, some of us don't like the fact that he fuck with white boys. Okay, get over it. It ain't my dick. It's not my ass. I don't care. Do what you want to do. Just don't be out here bandstanding and booty clapping for these people for the wrong fucking reasons. Who you date, who you love, what you want to do, how you want to fuck is your fucking prerogative. And I've learned that that is going to be my stance on that shit from now on. Am I going to have a problem with it fundamentally in certain spaces depending on the reasons for why? Absolutely. But am I going to continuously vilify somebody for wanting to fuck with somebody? Absolutely not. Because my husband is blackity, blackity, black, 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 black. And the men that I like are blackity, black, black, blackity, black, black, black. And that's who I'm going to be fucking. That's who I'm going to be with. That's what I'm going to be doing. So why does it matter to me who somebody else is fucking and sucking and doing and having fun with and building a life with? That's not my problem. And if some of y'all are so hung up on that y'all are pressed that Todrick is taking white men from you, or y'all are black and y'all are pressed that Todrick don't pay you no attention, go and find you somebody that looks as close to him as you can find and make believe. If that's what's really bothering you, that you can't have Todrick, go and make out with a fucking poster boy. But leave the boy alone. Like, some of y'all have really got to stop, or just be honest about the fact that you don't fuck with him. I would rather y'all make videos about the fact that you don't fuck with him because you don't fuck with him than try to find pseudo ways to humble him on bullshit. It was his birthday. His friends came through. It wasn't anything extravagant or out of the fucking ordinary. The party was at his house, free venue. All of the shit that showed up at that fucking place was things that could have been paid for by other people. Drag queens being at that party were likely unpaid because he does have drag queen friends. Y'all didn't think that those people would come and say, I'm gonna come and show up? What about if those people just showed up in drag because those are the type of friends that he has, and they just decided to do a fucking number because they were already dressed up? Bitches get drunk, they turn on fucking music, and it becomes a performance even though it wasn't a fucking performance. And then because this girl performed, I'm gonna perform too. Like, y'all don't understand how this shit go, but y'all do. And y'all like to grasp at straws and try to find things to make somebody look worse than you already believe that they are. And it's unnecessary. It is truly unfucking necessary. Can Todrick be a little obtuse about his privilege sometimes? Absolutely. But this is not one of those moments that I think it's the best opportune time for us to be beaten down and death threatened and calling somebody niggas and gorillas and all of this other bullshit because y'all are pressed that this boy still has access to his life while he might not be living it to the best of his ability. He still has access to his life. And that bothers y'all. That really bothers some of y'all. And that brings me back to the racism point before I close this out. Is that for a lot of you white queens, it has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, you feel so strongly about the idea that he did X, Y, and Z and his family's house burned down. Because if you really gave a fuck, where is your care for his actual family? Huh? Where's your actual outreach for his real family? If you really care about the fact that he was spending this money instead of sending it back to his family, what did you do to make sure that his family got that visibility? Because you don't have to donate to the GoFundMe, but you can make sure that people know that there's a family out here in Texas that is fucking homeless. But instead of doing the right thing, you did the viral thing. Because you wanted to be the white queen that got his ass together and finally humbled that motherfucking black bitch that don't deserve to be in your space. It's fucking your men. But that's a conversation that a lot of y'all don't want and will never want to have because you are afraid to admit that underneath all of that motherfucking glitter and fake ass white oppression for being gay, you are still racist as fuck. You're a white man who indulges in white supremacy and white fucking patriarchy. And there's an issue when a black man comes and has access not only to the life that you think you deserve, but to the men that you want to fuck. End of story. With that being said, let me move on to another rap beef out here in the world. Now, in case y'all did not know, Glorilla and JT have been going at it for months, okay? And I think that this is really cute. I think that this beef is just really funny because it gives me high school Miami drama, okay? And I don't want to say that I'm ready to see it come to a head, but I'm honestly ready to see the Twitter finger stop twittering so hard. I feel like if they're going to fight, JT needs to take it back to Miami, take it back to the old days, like how we do, you know, out there in Dade County, and pull up on Glow and let it be an on-site situation. But all of this back and forth on Twitter is crazy. Now, I love me some JT, but I will say this. I listened to Glorilla's song where she mentioned the whole beef between her and JT. And to me, it sounded genuine. The lyrics are just like, you know, I'm not best of friends with JT, but I want to see her win. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's a very valid point to make, especially if you're trying to extend an olive branch with somebody. Like, it's okay for me to name that we don't really fuck with each other like that, but it's not beef. And to say that in a song and to be open about that in a song in certain ways might make you look weak in the rap game. But I think that for Glow to do that, it shows her character as a young woman to be able to say, you know what? Like, I know that they want us to be beefing a lot harder than we actually are, but I'm going to keep this real cute and I'm going to let them know that it's not no beef, even though I think that we all know that there actually is a fucking beef. And I think that when it came down to it, there are people in JT's ear about a bunch of different things right now. As we know, Carisha is getting indicted and all of this other stuff that's going on and X, Y, and Z. And so I think that there are so many people with their differences of opinions and what they got going on and how they feel about JT doing and moving and da-da-da-da-da, that the last thing JT needs is another thing with her name trending or people asking her questions about. And I think that it is easier to respond to Glorilla than it is to respond about what's going on with Carisha, because Carisha is my day one bitch, right? And whatever secrecy that is going on there, I'm going to take that to my grave because that's my bitch. But this girl over here who I done had beef with, even though she might not necessarily be directly attacking me or whatever the case may be, all of this energy that I'm feeling over here, I'm gonna put it over here on you because it's easier for me to be a bitch to you than to try to like explain what is really happening behind the scenes with my girl, because that's my girl. And I think that that's a little bit of what's going on with the JT and Glorilla situation. But like I said, I think that it's funny and like really honestly, I really want to see them come together. And you know, what I hate is when people be like, oh, I want to see them do a track. I don't need a Glorilla and JT track. I think it would eat. I think it would eat. I think it would eat. I do. I do. Maybe Glorilla, JT, Lotto. I think it would eat. Doja Cat. You know, I like the alternative rap girlies. Like I think it would eat, you know, like I think it would be cute, but I'm not gonna say that I think that everybody who was beefing needs to just do a collab, right? Like, I don't think that that's the response, or that's the answer, or that's the end all be all to every beef out there in the world. I think that some people just don't like each other, and that should be okay. But I also think that there should be room for the idea that we don't have to like each other, but we don't have to go back and forth publicly with people, and that's okay too. And I think that maybe the issue here is that what Glorilla could have done was got the track cleared with JT before it released. That way, it's like you talk to her people, y'all have a little quick one-on-one, maybe a FaceTime before it comes out, and you say like, hey, I know we not cool like that, but I'm gonna mention your name on this track on some like, I want to squash the idea that we have any beef. You and I know what it is, and I just, I want to be respectful about the way that this track is gonna look, because I know how they're gonna spin it when it come out, and I just don't want no beef. You know what I'm saying? And that way, if JT wanted to turn up on you in private, you could just scrap that part of the song from the fucking music and be done with it, and just be like, you know what? I don't fuck with this bitch. Like, she's fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like what Glow was trying to do was on some surprise, like white flag type shit. And JT just isn't in a place right now to receive it. And like I said, it's not because I think that JT is just so immature that she can't. I just think that there's so much going on right now. Glorilla picked the wrong time to wave that white flag, because it gave, oh, bitch, you vulnerable. I'm vulnerable, and I'm upset about all this other stuff that's going on. So I'm going for the jugular since you vulnerable, And it's really unfortunate that that's the route that JT took. But I think that Glorilla low-key kind of sort of on the back end should have saw it coming. Because if you were dealing with some of the stuff that or you can assume that JT is dealing with, it might not be the smartest thing to mention her name in any capacity if you know that y'all haven't already personally decided to squash that beef. So here are my final thoughts. With everything going on in the world, I think that it's important that we allow people to be who they are, do what they want to do what feels necessary, while also understanding that every situation involved has and should be considered with nuance. Whether you be talking about the idea of trans people being included in sports, or if you're talking about the idea of whether or not you want to engage in a rap beef, I think that there is space for us to consider the fact that everybody out here is human and has life in. So whether you own $24,000 worth of Cartier bracelets, or if you're a person who's genuinely going through some shit on the back end, your current situation should not be gathered or be a factor for people to decide how they feel about what's truly going on in your life, because oftentimes they do not know. And oftentimes you are still trying to pull it together in order to be able to have coherent conversations with the people around you. So as I say all the time, you need to make sure that before you go out here just assuming that you know what you know, and putting that out as fact, that you consider the nuance of the situation that everybody is in, whether you like them or not. There is always a both and to be considered in every situation. And if we treat people, or if we evaluate people in the way that we wish to be evaluated, we oftentimes come out with arguments, thought processes, and theses, right, that lean to be a little bit more, how do I want to say? They lean to be a little bit more positive than defamatory. Because being a person who seeks to defame somebody oftentimes makes you look like an instigator. And that's whether you're the media, whether you're some random person on TikTok, or whether you're another person within the industry that I'm inhabiting. You never want to look like somebody who is instigating something for the sake of defaming a person, because you are not going to like, usually, the way that person tries to come out of that. Because most times, and 9 times out of 10, it is going to be swinging back just as hard as you swung, if not harder. Keep that in mind, and I will see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.
Talk to me nicely. I noticed they heated, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get advice, we know.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.